Hey guys, how's it going? I am by myself today, believe it or not. I know Mark is super sad that he couldn't be here on today's video, but as we all know, he just talks so much. Either way, today the video must go on. We are gonna cook today. I love cooking, I love baking, so I'm super excited to be here and make something with you guys. We are in El Paso, Texas. It is, I think it hit 100 degrees today, and I thought it would be a perfect time to share with you guys my milk tea boba tea recipe. We are gonna make the tapioca pearls from scratch, yay! And the milk tea we are gonna make from scratch. I am in no way a boba expert, a milk tea expert. This is just a recipe I use that I like, personal preference for everything. So I can tell you right now, my boba is not gonna be traditional, it's not gonna be black. It's gonna be red or pink today. And I can tell you my milk tea is not made with milk, it's made with half and half. Traditionally, it's made with milk, right? So, my preferences, it's really good. Everyone that's tasted it loves it. So I say give it a shot. It would be perfect for this hot weather right now that we are having. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so to start off the recipe, we are going to start with the tapioca sugar syrup. The sugar syrup you can use in your bubble teas. I don't use it in this recipe. You definitely could, it just adds more sweetness to it. But what I'm using it for is for my tapioca pearls. I actually let the tapioca pearls sit in the mixture so it gathers some of the sweetness, and also so the boba balls don't get hard and they don't stick to each other. You're only going to need 3 things. First thing will be white sugar. We're going to use half a cup of this. Next we'll need half a cup of our brown sugar. This is dark brown sugar. And then we'll need half a cup of water. We're going to throw this all into a pot. Let it melt. Once it melts, then we're going to let it cool. So that's why I'm making it first, because I do need it to cool down so that when I throw the boba in there, it doesn't start cooking on me again. So I'll throw it in there. Probably takes about maybe 5 minutes to cook, and then from there we'll move on to the tapioca. So to start guys, we're going to throw our half a cup of brown sugar into the pot. We're then going to throw half a cup of our white sugar. We're then going to give it a quick mix just so the sugars can mix together. And once you got it mixed, combined, we're then going to throw in half a cup of water. Okay. I now have this at medium high heat. Remember, sugar does burn, so we just want to get this all melted and into a sugary syrup. Once you see it thicken, it's about time to turn off. Remember, don't leave this by itself. You do want to mix it so that your sugar doesn't burn and that it can cook fast. Okay, this is actually just about done. Okay, once that's done, mine is actually kind of not boiling, but it's starting to boil. That's when you know it's done. You guys can shut off the heat, and then we'll go ahead and transfer this over into our bowl. So this is what we have. I went ahead and poured it into a Pyrex glass. Nothing fancy. You guys can pour it into a jar, Tupperware, anything you want. But mine is now in a Pyrex glass. I'm going to go ahead and set it to the side, and then we can go ahead and move on to our tapioca pearls. All right, guys, now that our sugar syrup is done, we're going to start making the tapioca pearls. It's super easy to make the tapioca pearls. It only takes 3 ingredients, which is freaking awesome. I actually thought that tapioca pearls were some type of like fruit, like a berry, that grew out in the wild, but it's definitely not. It's just like dough that's boiled. So the 3 ingredients you will need are tapioca flour. You can also use tapioca starch. They're the same thing essentially. I bought this one at Sprouts. You can probably buy it at Amazon or Whole Foods. But for this recipe, I'm actually running out of this brand, so I had to go to the store and buy another one. So I bought this Arrowhead brand, Arrowhead Mills brand. The only difference is that this is gluten-free, so hopefully the Boba Pearls come out the same. I don't think it should affect it. But this was also at Sprouts, so either one is fine. We also will need a 1/4 cup of water, gel food coloring. I'm using red. You guys can use any color you want. You can leave it colorless, or you guys can mix colors, make it black or whatever. I do suggest though you do get gel food coloring. If you use regular food coloring, if you're a baker, you're gonna know this, but regular food coloring does dissolve and does evaporate when it's heated, so it won't be as pigmented whatever color you do choose. So gel food coloring doesn't do that. It actually stays very pigmented and holds its color. And lastly, we're gonna go back and use some more brown sugar. For this recipe, we will actually only need about 5 tablespoons of brown sugar. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and turn on the stove. We're gonna turn it down probably to a lower heat. I have a newer stove, so my heat is like extra, so I always have to turn it lower than usual, but you want to have probably a medium to low heat or low medium heat. Alright, in the pot we are going to throw in a 1/4 cup of water, and then we are going to throw in our brown sugar. That is 5 tablespoons of brown sugar, and then we are going to mix it. We are wanting the brown sugar to dissolve, and we're gonna let it come to a boil. Okay. Make sure you keep stirring it so that the sugar doesn't burn. We want to make sure that it does come to a boil and not a simmer. It should thicken up like a syrup and then start to boil. So we'll let that rest for a little bit. Alright, now that it's boiling, we're gonna mix it a little bit. Want to make sure it's not sticking. And I'm going to let it come back to another boil. Should be very quick. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of drops of the gel. Mix that, so I'm going to have a pretty red color. And then I'm going to keep the heat on, but I'm going to lower it a tad bit, and I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of a tapioca flour. And then I'm going to mix it, and what I'm looking for here is a paste. Okay, so this should start thickening up, and you'll notice it right away. And then gonna take it off the heat, and then I'm gonna add the rest of the flour. That's gonna be 1/2 cup, and then I'm gonna mix it. This is going to form our dough for our tapioca balls. So you're gonna wanna mix it just until the dough comes up from the bottom of your bowl. Alright guys, so I've taken the dough mixture off of the stove. I've let it cool probably about for two or 3 minutes. I'm gonna dust my working station with some tapioca flour. Okay, you want to make sure that you do let the dough rest, because if not, it's going to be pretty hot when you start to knead it. So once you have a nice dough, what you're gonna do, you're gonna take a knife and you're gonna cut it down the middle. Now we're gonna have 2 pieces. Set one piece to the side, and the other one we're gonna roll into a log. Alright guys, so we got our tapioca dough all rolled out. We have about 4 pieces. This is what it looks like. Now before I continue with the dough and cutting them to actually make the pearls, I do want to let you know that on the stove we have a pot of water that is boiling. We do need to make sure that the water boils before we turn in the tapioca pearls in there. So I'm going to let that boil, and then I'm going to continue working on the boba pearls. So for this part, all we're going to do is cut the strips or the logs into about 1/3 of a diameter. So you don't want them too big, not too small. Remember, the bigger they are, the longer it's going to take to cook. They are going to expand in the water, so I'm just gonna cut. Alright guys, so now we have some raw looking meat. You got 2 choices. You can leave them as squares, or you can take them and form them into little balls. Either way it works. You don't got time to be rolling them. Definitely leave them the way they are. Cook them that way. It's gonna taste the same. It's gonna be the same. I mean, they're already not traditional. They're red, so leaving them square would, you know, be in sync. Alright guys, I'm gonna continue to roll these, and then I'll be back and we will throw them into the pot of boiling water. Alright guys, so we got all of our boba pearls rolled out. They are now circles. Some of them are kind of a little bit square, but that's okay. Now the next step, you guys can go ahead and dust them with the tapioca flour if you want. By doing that, it's actually gonna prevent them from sticking in the water, in the boiling water. I'm not going to do that because it actually still has a pretty good amount of tapioca flour from when I dusted my surface. So I'm just going to leave them the way they are. The water on the stove is now boiling, so I'm going to take these and dump them in the water. So unfortunately guys, the video of me cooking the boba was pretty distorted. I was only able to capture the end of it. The boba did take though about maybe 30 minutes to cook. As you can see, as I take it out of the water, it does have that nice filmy texture that normal tapioca black pearls have that you can find at any restaurant or boba place. These are pretty. They look like cherries. I guess that's why I like them so much in red. But either way, if this is your first time making boba, I do recommend that you guys during the cooking process take a spoon and take a boba pearl out of the water and taste it. If it's hard, then you guys know that it's not ready, and if it's super chewy, then it may be overcooked or it may be just right where it needs to be. Either way, I do recommend that you guys kind of taste them and see how they are. At this point, the thing we're going to do is just turn off the stove, take the bobas off the heat, and then we're going to begin rinsing the boba. We just want to take off some of that filmy texture that comes about, and then we're going to throw this into our tapioca syrup for a couple of minutes. Hey guys, so we are almost done. The last step is to make the actual milk tea. So all we're gonna need for the milk tea is half and half. We're gonna be using a 1/4 cup per glass that you make. So I know I said I'm gonna make one, but I'm actually gonna make two because my cousin is here. So I'm gonna make her one. So we're gonna be using a 1/4 cup for my cup and a 1/4 cup for hers. You're gonna need black tea. I'm using the Earl Grey black tea. Any black tea that you like will be fine. If you guys want to experiment with jasmine tea, green tea, lemongrass tea, feel free to. I don't know how it tastes. Let me know how it tastes. I don't imagine it to be good. The boba we just made, and the brown sugar. Brown sugar again, this is more for sweetening the drink. You can put as much, as little, or you don't have to put any at all. This is up to your guys' preference. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is gonna grab some of the boba from our syrup. Okay, we're gonna dump it in the cup. Should be at the bottom. You can put as much or as little as you want. Once we have that, we're gonna add some ice to them. Again, this is up to your preference. You can put a little bit of ice, a lot of ice. I'm gonna put about that much. Okay, now we're gonna add the tea. Now I already started to make this tea, so it's been seeping for a while. I use tea bags and I use 2 at 10 ounces of water. You guys can use loose tea if you want, if that's what you have laying around, or if that's just your preference, if that's what you like. Just make sure that you guys don't leave any of the tea leaves in the tea because that's pretty gross. Might have to get a new cup. Alright guys, so I moved it into a bigger cup. So the boba's still down here. Tea, my ice. And then the last, well, second to last part I should say, is we're gonna throw in the half and half. Remember, we're gonna do a 1/4 cup. Remember, traditional milk tea is made with regular milk, so if you guys don't want to be using the half and half, that's totally fine. You can just switch it out for regular milk. Look at how pretty that is. All right, and now we can go ahead and start adding the brown sugar. To be honest, guys, I probably add like 5 tablespoons of brown sugar. You guys can add 2 at a time. Stir, taste until you get to your liking. Alright guys, and this is the finished product. Boba and milk tea. Unfortunately, I don't have boba straws. Save the turtles for sure. I just have my metal reusable straws. I ended up using 6 tablespoons of the brown sugar. Again, that's the sweetness level I like. You guys can add more if you want it super sweet, or you can add less or no sugar at all. You can also use that sugar syrup that the boba was sitting in. And remember, I told you guys that you guys can definitely use that. I didn't want to use that because it has like the slimy stuff in it and it kind of grosses me out. But I just added the additional sugar, and that's what I like. For sure. If you guys try this at home, let me know how it comes out. If you guys have any questions, ask them in the comments. I would be glad to help you out if something turns out or turns out wrong. I can definitely help you out. I will add everything to the description box so you guys know exactly what I used, and I will also add tips and tricks in the description box, things that I've run into as I've made the boba, so that you guys, if you guys run into it, you know how to fix it or you know how to avoid it. Other than that, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope y'all come back and cook with me again. Bye.